Hello, everyone. I have been away because I have been dealing with some gastrointestinal issues, which I will go into. Oh my God, if there has ever been a reason for you to take very good care of yourself, it is that you never want to have gastrointestinal issues. I have always been, I've never been fat. I've never been slim thick because I think that's what girls call themselves when they don't want to call themselves fat. But after putting my body through a lot of stress to get to where I need to get to, I really have paid a price, and now I have to pay back that debt that I incurred when I was stressed. But nonetheless, I'm here and I'm just want to have a positive conversation with a lot of the women who think like me, who are like minded and are really trying to make a way for themselves. The first thing I'm going to talk about is women who suffer from a lack of imagination. So I wrote an article last 2 months or last month about how I don't believe in the entire femininity movement on the internet. How most of the people on the internet are scammers anyway, so go figure. But like the reason why I do not fundamentally believe in any kind of movement, whether it be all the red pill stuff for men or the femininity stuff for women, is that fundamentally you're the best custodian for your own life. It is very hard, or it's very hard for individuals to understand that fundamentally nobody is equipped to determine what is best for you apart from you. Because all our lives, especially as children, we are done a disservice in that as children we are told what to do. We come into this world and we don't fundamentally understand that the school you're going to, if though that school was built by somebody, but as kids we go in and we see the school already built, we see our curriculum already planned out for us, our clothes already picked out for us, and we feel like all these decisions that were made, there's this unintentional idea that all these decisions that were made are good decisions, that someone had deep thought, deep knowledge, and are the best things for us. When you realize that that's not the case, as individuals, we are the only ones who know what we need, and we're the best people to give those needs to ourselves. And I remember in that article, as I said, I was talking about how I don't believe in the femininity movement. And someone commented when the Reddit where it was posted and said, she makes it seem like if you work hard, that you'll be Mary Curie, that all of us can be Mary Curie. And I'm like thinking, Mary Curie did not know that she would be Mary Curie. Like a lot of the people who succeed, if you actually read their lives, they just follow their passions, their ideas, and thought of their ideas as important, and listened to their gut, their inner feelings. They did not think they would go down in history and become such great individuals. I remember even thinking that about the Collision Brothers. For those who don't know, the Collision Brothers are the people who started Stripe. Stripe is basically the payment backend for the entire internet. And I remember in an article they talked about how much you think Stripe will be valued, and they guessed the valuation of 1 billion. However, Stripe is currently valued at 100 billion. And these boys are very intelligent boys. Like they are boys who are winning awards in programming at the age of 16, 14. They have been killing it in tech. But even then, they were 100 times wrong on the valuation of their idea. And I'm just thinking, like, do these women not fundamentally imagine themselves also being wrong in their perceptions of of themselves? Do these women not think that they could be possibly wrong and in their abilities to determine how great they could be? I have a friend. He's I'm his closest person on this earth. I'm his person. And I tell him how exceptionally great he is. Literally everybody around us tells him how great he is. He's very good at math. He's a math god, math genius. Some people just have it. He has it. But try to tell him that, and he will come up with every excuse and every reason in the book why he's just lucky. And he says, I'm the smart one. I am the very intelligent one. And I'm like, oh, according to that logic, if I'm smart and you're stupid, therefore you are great because I'm telling you you are great. But then he doesn't want to believe that. I realize that when it comes to individuals, we are very prideful when it comes to the ideas that we've sold ourselves. And we cannot fundamentally imagine that there's a different story or a different idea out there that might suit us better. Or even if that's our current story suits us, but there could be another one that also suits us equally as well. There's this quote that I saw where someone said, if somebody who loved you could write your story, who would you be? Something to that effect. And God, I love my female friends. If I could write the story of their lives, they would have adventures, thrilling romances, great wins. I defy feats that I didn't think were humanly possible. And I think my friends are all capable of those things. but they don't think so. So I can't physically make that story. But if I was like the J.K. Rowling of the universe, that would be their story. Stories where they would achieve great things and do wonderfully amazing, have like a wonderful, robust life. They would have failures in the story, but like every great hero, they would conquer those failures. And I just wonder, do people not imagine that the world that they've seen of themselves, the story they've told themselves, is not the entire thing? Like, I'm radically aware that I haven't seen everything, and I have lived in three different continents, and I have lived in like probably like 10 different places in my life, and I still know I don't know shit. Maybe it's because I've lived enough that I know I don't know shit. Like, there was a time in my life where $10 would have been life or death for me. Like, but now I can probably tear like $100. It would suck, but I won't be dead. And even 1,000 would suck, but like, oh, like my thousand. And then I think to myself, if I've had this 100 times like improvement in what I thought was a lot of money, I realized that Jeff Bezos could tear like 1 million. He'd be okay. Even 1 billion would suck, but he'll be okay. And then you realize that the world, your perception of the world is not everything. And I pity for women who cannot imagine great futures for themselves or futures beyond what they see. And this is another thing I struggle with this entire inclusivity and inclusivity movement and representation movement. Exactly. Please, women who are listening to me, do not limit your dreams and aspirations and ideas of what you could possibly be based on the funding of mediocre executives in Hollywood. Don't wait until they've shown you that somebody of your ethnicity or background can be successful in something before you do it. Be willing to be the first. I want more female adventurers around me. Well, like, yeah, it hasn't been done, but I think it can be done. And God, women, we are exceptionally great. We are exceptionally wonderful and great. We hear these stories of these families where there were 12 kids and the mothers were poor, but the mothers found a way of making it work. Imagine if we applied that female ingenuity into the world, how different the world would be. I say this in that we should all imagine a future. We should all basically start being more creative in the possibilities of things that can happen around us. Read the stories and the lives of the great women in history, women and men, and you realize there is far more to this world than what you are seeing in front of you. And imagine if the Stripe brothers, who are intelligent young men who have built $100 billion company, were 100 times wrong in their assessments. Imagine how many times you are wrong. How like imagine the percentage you are off in your assessment of yourself. That small blog could have been that you thought maybe you bring $10 in a month. If you by 100 times wrong, that is 8,000 a month. If you're 10,000 times wrong or 1,000 times wrong, that is how much money a month? Sorry, my math is whatever. Moral of the story is I think we should all be a little bit more creative when it comes to our lives. And know that at every point we'll be called to rewrite the stories of our lives. Like even somebody like Beyonce who has been singing and performing all her life, even though she'll probably do it till the day she's in the grave, there'll probably be days where she cannot dance like she dances now and she maybe needs to change around. And there will come a time where she will no longer be Beyonce. Like she will always be this exceptionally great artist. But maybe her crowd and her demographic will shrink as more Gen Zers come in. She will have to do something else. We will all be called to rewrite who we are. And I hope that as I'm going through this process, because I want to talk about this process, I don't want to act like all these gurus on the internet who act like they don't share. We are all going through this for the first time. None of us know anything. I hope that we all feel okay being willing to change who we know we are, to be who we could be. Because life is too fucking short. And that's one of the main topics I want to talk about today. I also want to talk about career. And I'm not giving career advice because nobody knows anything careers. And honestly, all the generic advice on the internet is often nonsense. So also with investing, the stock market is a hot mess. I think for peace of mind, just invest in index funds because low key, the goal of investments is to not have to worry about stuff. And if you're just sure that this is the safest thing, and even though it doesn't produce that much, like compared to like YOLOing all your money in fucking GameStop, there is peace of mind knowing that I am doing this basic thing right. And as for crypto, the only good strategy for crypto that will not fail you is investing in every single coin. Yeah, you will lose some money, but hopefully you get into the next Bitcoin. But nobody knows which will be the next crypto. Nobody knows. Like, stop listening to people on the internet who speak with so much authority. This entire thing is emerging. And the only way you can really like win in case of crypto is to hedge your bets on everything. I am still learning crypto. I don't have I have money I could invest. I just don't want to until I fundamentally understand it. But even then, you just have to hedge your bets in a lot of crypto and hope that you get the next Bitcoin. But when it comes to career, the one thing I want to talk about is value creation and how that's the only way to succeed. Right now, the next Zuckerbergs are being made after every major like event, whether it's the Great Depression, whether it's like all these major events with now with COVID, funding for the next startups are just the entire VC industry is upside down right now. Money is being shelled from all the stimulus that people had is now being shelled into new startups. So this is the time to join a startup, if not any. And that's why I'll talk about playing the lottery. Because as somebody who works in big tech, like big tech, you realize that I'm too young to be working at big tech. I should be playing the lottery of working at a small startup. That if this startup succeeds, be one of the first 20 employees who set me for life. And if it fails, I can use my experience as one of the founding product managers, engineers, whatever, to go and up level myself faster in another company. And that's what I mean by playing the lottery. I don't mean going to spend your money on some kind of jackpot hoping you win. I mean looking at the industries around you, whether it is meatless meats like the genetically lab grown meat industry, the creator economy, the industries happening around you where you can and getting in on an early player and owning part of it, i.e., even if it's whatever, having stock options in that company and making sure the company has like a 2 year runway already. If it's a small company, you can ask the founder, have you raised money for 2 years? At least, therefore, you know in 2 years this company is safe. And if the company has a 2 year runway, is in an emerging industry, and you're one of the first 20 employees and you have options in it, that's what I mean by playing the lottery. And another way of playing the lottery might be starting your own company because right now is the best time to do so. And that's my goal for myself that by the end of the year, I transition out of my job into my own full time company where I really, after my entire gastrointestinal issues, I have changed my life around and I feel compelled to really tackle agriculture and health. And with regards to careers, you should always be selling something on the internet. Whether it is your course, whether it is your time, whether it is your products. I saw female ingenuity is something. I saw a woman who made like laptop all these mechanical keyboard laptop keys and she'd make them in shapes of food like ramen, like noodles. She was very creative in that. There's also this woman that was selling like these really nice blazers. I saw them. Even if I won't buy them, you should always have something selling on the internet. So what are you selling? And the last thing with regards to career is we need some Gen Z spies because technology is changing so quickly. And even though I'm a millennial, I'm even technically Gen Z too, whatever. We need people who are in the thick of it to inform us because we need spies who understand how culture is changing. In order to win, we have to become cultural anthropologists because when culture change, that means a new set of a new set of customers there. It's just like how black women before used to relax our hair so much, but with the natural hair movement, once it began to take hold, it meant that there was a market for a new market that that hair companies could sell their products to. So we also need a cultural anthropologist. So if you have a younger sibling, you better go ask them what you take talking about. What you I don't know what these fucking teenagers are doing. Yeah, I don't like teenagers. But yeah, we need cultural anthropologists. And if you are any trends that you are seeing down below, comment. I actually want women to feel very comfortable commenting on anything they see because we need more women being able to say, yeah, I'm seeing a trend of more and more young people wearing this kind of outfit. And I'm seeing it on TikTok. And maybe a woman who works in the fashion line can capitalize off that. So another question or something I want you to comment on is what trends are we seeing, not just emerging in with Gen Zers, but also just on the internet are we seeing that we can begin to be a part of? And before the trend goes mainstream, if, like we are all part of niche communities, which trends are we seeing in those communities? And the last thing I want to talk about is an ethical dilemma. When I was in college, I wrote a paper about should we give young children hormones It was about the entire gender debate, and I was so against it because young children don't know anything. Like they are not able to consent. And I remember reading an article about a woman whose child had severe autism. Like this child would never be able to feed themselves, would never be able to communicate. This child will That's this child's reality. And what she did was, with the doctor's permission, she basically gave this child a lot of estrogen, I think, or a hormone that prevented this child from growing because this child was going to grow big. It was going to be like an adult. And they realized that they didn't want to drop this child in a nursing facility or home. So the best way for them to take care of this child was to give the child estrogen, where the child basically stayed the size of a child, even though the child was a teenager at that time. And I think this is a question that women don't like to ask ourselves, ethical dilemmas. But if you knew your child would have a developmental disability, would you still bring that child to term if you had the options of terminating that pregnancy? And I know this is like an uncomfortable question to ask on the internet, but this is why I'm anonymous. And I want to ask women what their answers are, and afterwards we can talk about it in our next thing. But if you really knew, and your answer could be, oh, there's some disabilities I am willing to like help raise my child with, and there are others I know I cannot cope with. But if you knew there was something where your child would not be able to function and grow and develop like a regular child, would you bring that child in full term? And that's all for this weekend of this week's episode of the Coffee Salon. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I hope you all begin to imagine a future greater than what you're seeing around you. And I know it's easy to say expose yourself to other things, but just for a second, imagine that you could paint the world in the colors you wish to authentically paint them with. What colors would the world be in for you? All have a lovely week. Go kill it on Monday. Go find the next rocket ship that you can get on, and you can be make money once this becomes the next Google or Facebook. And even if it fails, use that and leverage that. Fail up like all these pathetic men. Have a lovely rest of your week. Bye bye.